Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. I'm Ash, and this is today's comic, Detective Comics 984 by Bryan Hill. This is the full art variant. I really like the variants that DC is doing. This one is no exception. And I don't really like the covers for Detective Comics. This artist, whose name I can't pronounce, so I hate to try to butcher it, he's just not my cup of tea. So, let's get into it. If you followed from my last review, this is issue 2 of Bryan's 5-issue arc, and I very much liked the first issue. This one picks up not right where the last one left off. It has a flashback scene. And I want to start off right now by commending Bryan Hill. His dialogue is good. Or I should say his dialogue sounds good. I've seen better dialogue as far as it moving the story better. But it reads so well. I really just enjoy how the characters sound. And not that Bryan doesn't tell a good story by any means. That's not at all what I'm trying to communicate. But there's two aspects to the dialogue. You know, it's how it helps the story and move things, but also how fun does it sound to read. And sometimes you can succeed at one and fail at the other. And Bryan does a pretty good job at both, but his strength is in the sound. And I can't help but hear characters and in my head, giving them special voices. And when I read him writing Batman, Kevin Conroy, it's just like it just comes out naturally because Bryan is so in sync with it. So here we have this mysterious character selling the unknown villain from the last issue, which we'll call Karma. This piece of space technology. And so we kind of get a background of, why does he have this helmet thing? Okay, now we know a little bit more about it. So picking up where the last issue left off, Karma's chasing down Cassandra Cain. And it's a pretty cool little fight here. He's riding on the rooftop of this car. Why this person is still driving. Just like, hey, there's a gunman on top of my car. I guess I'll keep driving. But honestly, the first time when I read this, I didn't even think of that. Now that I'm reviewing, I'm a little bit more critical. So, man, that's comic book action, I guess. Here's some of the weaknesses I feel from the artist in this paneling. Cassandra dives presumably from a hood of a car down to the side of a car, gunfire, and then immediately it switches direction. That's not... it's cinematically this isn't flowing right. She's charging with this pose, which then transitions into this sort of... I don't even know what to call that, a cheerleader kick. And then we have, flying sidekick. So we get this dialogue. He's talking to her, your thoughts are beautiful, pure violence. Not like Yellow Boy. He was confused. You're not confused. You're just afraid. And even despite, I think, the art is lacking, it's still, the writing is solid enough, and it's not terrible art by any means. It's just, I think that Bryan deserves better, especially since I think Bryan understands the action. That he needs an artist that can aptly put on page what he's envisioning. So we get in this fight. It doesn't quite end, but it transitions back to the airplane from last issue. We see Black Lightning. I always forget his name. His last name's Jefferson, but Anyways, Black Lightning shows up. Welcome to Gotham. You made the right choice, Jefferson. You really think you gave me a choice, Batman? Bruce Wayne must owe you one hell of a favor to give you his plane. He owes me his life. I thought that was a pretty cool exchange. So Bruce is telling him basically that he wants Jefferson to basically teach the Bat family. That he feels he's not qualified per se. He's kind of hinting that he's not qualified as far as bringing them together as a team. And Jefferson's got skill as a teacher, and he wants to have his knowledge to unify them and build them, make them better. So we get a cool thing. Gonna drive away in the Batmobile. Black Lightning's impressed. Now we're back to fighting Cassandra Cain and Karma. And he's trying to talk to her. Listen, take my hand. Together we can help Batman. You're better than him, than all of them. No. And she just resists him at every step, which I admire. Even though she is outclassed at this point, she kind of realizes, but she doesn't stop. And then, remember, if you die, it's what you deserved. And at that point, zap, you see the lightning come in, and Black Lightning shows up to save the day. If I'm going to critique Brian here for a minute in his storytelling, which I don't like to do, because I am a fan of the guy, I like the guy. I don't like how he transitions and gets Black Lightning to the fight. It just feels convenient. It's a minor quibble. It's comics. He's got 22 pages or whatever. I'm forgive it. I wish, when I'm reading it, I'm just like, I wish he could have found a different way. But be that as it may. So he's shocking Karma. Zod blasts him off to the side. Oh, cool. Oh, here. I'm Black Lightning. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. They get their exchange. And then, boom, out of nowhere, a car door hits him in the back. Oh, ta-da. Looks like Karma can absorb your powers. And he's like, thanks for giving me your power. So all the energy that shocked him, he's now absorbed, so he can send it back or, use it. Another thing that bothered me is, you just got slammed by a car door. Well, you weren't expecting it. And he's barely phased. He's like, oh, that's not possible. Has Black Lightning got some sort of super resistance? I don't know much about the character, but if he's just a normal dude, that would KO most people. So they're getting in a fight. He launches a sonic grenade at them, and he's using Black Lightning's own power, essentially. I don't think he actually took his power. I just think he basically absorbed the lightning, and now he's able to redirect it. I like that the mask has this sort of little illumination over the metal, and it forms this smile, it emotes. I thought that was a nice touch. I don't know whose credit that is. I'm going to credit the artist since it's part of the artwork. But it's this tense moment. He's got the heroes down. Maybe I'll just give it away to the one you think can save you. He's smiling. Zod. So Batman was going to ambush him, but he's too smart for Batman, which, credit to this guy, makes me go, oh, you're more badass than I thought. If Batman, you showed up Batman there. That's credit to you. Not many people could do that. And I like that. Credit to Brian Hill. It's hard to come in and write characters to show up Batman like that. It's I can tell Brian has a lot of respect for Batman as a hero, but he's not making Batman necessarily a pussy so that the villain can thwart him. what he's doing is making the villain tougher. He's making the villain rise up to the challenge. He's trying to create a strong villain and recognizing, yo, Batman is badass. So I'm not pulling punches here. And that doesn't happen so much these days. We're seeing a lot of downgrade of the heroes in order for them to succumb to the stupid villains. So Batman gets zotted, flies through, crashes through a window, way beat up. So Batman is human, so he's down for the count mostly. He's able to grunt. And we get the villain monologuing, so strange. Of all the things to remember from that night, you chose pearls. And he just sort of like gloats over Batman, and he walks away. And remember, this was also very interesting. I like this villain because he's different. Most villains have a selfish motive. They either want money, or they want power, or they want to beat their enemy, Most villains would have taken this time, Batman's down, I'm going to finish him off type thing, or capture him or do something. He's not interested in defeating Batman in that aspect. He's actually trying to make Batman better. He has a sick mantra of getting rid of Batman's family so that Batman can be strong. And that may be wrong, but it's a different psyche. And I appreciate that, especially in a Batman villain. And I always think that Batman stories are only as good as their villain. And someone once told me, and I've lived off this too, that a good Batman story is always about the villain. We already know about Bruce Wayne and who Batman is. And Batman is the detective that has to first discover the villain, learn about him, figure a way to stop him. So good villains are interesting. Kudos to Brian for this guy who I'm liking. And he's getting away, and Cassandra can't wait. Black Lightning's like, no, Cassandra, not without Batman. And he escapes in the tunnels. At this point, what can we do, Batman? Call Alfred. So we go to the mansion. Now Black Lightning knows who Bruce Wayne is. And the crux of the story now is here on the final page, where Jefferson confronts Bruce Wayne. Bad time. I can come back. No. Close the door, Jefferson. And if you're wondering how it feels to get hit by your power, it's unpleasant. Please isn't a word I use often, but I will say thank you. Cassandra would have died if you hadn't been there. But, Bruce, I don't even know what to call you. Look, I'll keep your secret, but before we go any further, I can't condone any of this. Those kids downstairs need therapy, not costumes. I'm an educator. None of this makes any sense to you. You're right. It's clear that our tourists in Gotham will use all of them to hurt me. That can't happen. I will uncover Karma's identity, and I will stop him. Until then, all of them stand down, and they will follow your lead, however you choose to lead them. And so he tells them, he kind of gives them a little synopsis about the characters. So we'll do Thomas, we'll do this, Cassandra, blah, 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 a little heads up. Tell them I'm sorry, but they make me weaker. And I thought that was like, whoa, did not see that coming. The whole mantra of Karma is that he's saying, you make Batman weaker. And he's getting rid of him. And here we see Bruce Wayne identifying the same problem that Karma sees. Now, obviously, Batman's solution is going to be different than Karma, and that's what differentiates the two. But normally you find that a hero and a villain are diametrically opposed. You say, well, I'm here because these guys make you weaker and I want to fix it. And this character is going to say, nope, they make me stronger and I'm going to prove it. That's the typical way you'd expect things to go. But not Brian. Nope, Brian's like, yep, Batman agrees. Oh, shit, now what? And that's good comic storytelling, because that's the last page. I'm like, what? I'm chomping at the bit for the next issue. So while it's not a perfect comic book, Brian is what I would say a talented, yet someone who has not mastered his craft. He's still kind of raw, but I don't care. This is fun. This is one of the most entertaining books out right now. You should be getting it. If you can, try to go find 983. This issue, when I was at my store, I got to my store this week like 3 minutes after it opened. There were maybe 10 copies of Detective Comics on the shelf. And my store is big. Very big. I'll put it this way. There's still more issues of Amazing Spider-Man 800 on the shelf. There was 0 copies of this cover. These were gone. They never even hit the shelf. And 983, I came in on a Thursday, the day after, and I literally got the last copy of it. So people are taking notice of this. This is a recommendation for me. I mentioned what I'm saying right now is only to you, that if you want to get this, if you're like, oh, this is on my radar now, don't wait. Go try to find it now, because I feel like this is only going to gain more popularity as it goes forward, and people go, oh, wow, what's Brian doing? I'm aware of it because I follow him on Twitter, but I think most comic people don't, and they're sort of going to catch on later, and it's going to be kind of a white knight scenario where it's like, oh, issue 3's out, everyone's getting on board, issue 4, and now all of a sudden you can't find issue 1 through 3. They're just everyone's trying to scramble to get the back issues. Again, I don't want to overhype the book and say, oh, this, like, it's not White Knight, but it's really fun. And, like I said, it's one of the most entertaining things I'm reading right now. It's what comics should be. Check it out. Bravo. Thanks, Brian, for being a great pro who I discovered you purely on your professionalism. And now I'm buying your books, and now I'm also promoting your books. This is how the industry should work. And if anyone buys this book, please tweet Brian, move the needle, tag me. We need to support good creators doing good work. Brian is someone we want to see get more opportunities to do more stories, and we should be promoting that. Buy the books, promote the work. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're looking forward to the next issue as much as I am. I'll make another video on that when it comes out, and see you then.